right, welcome back, welcome back. Long time no see. So, I'm going to be honest. I completely got deep into reading the book and did not record anything for recaps. Where we left off at, I had just finished chapter 5 and I was moving to chapter 6. I am now getting ready to start chapter 20. I've just been in the book. It's been that good. And there are so many different developments that I didn't realize was going to be happening. And I just got hooked. There is a story within the story. I love a good story within the story, especially when it is well written. And this one, I love it because it takes us back to the Harlem Renaissance, which is one of my favorite eras of literature and music and art for African Americans. And I just think that it's beautiful to have this B plot of a story within the main narrative of the story. And I call it a B plot because you're getting a narration about someone's life through letters and diaries and communication with their family, and it's kind of structuring their point of view. I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's a really amazing plot line. So let's get into the breakdown. So, before I started reading the book, I was looking online to see what people thought. I came across a couple of book pages that I follow on Facebook, and I kind of read through the comments. And one of the criticisms that the book received, although people praised Kennedy's writing style, they praised the development of the characters. One of the consistent criticisms that I saw was about the slow burn, and people saying that it was too slow and it took too long to pick up, and it was really hard for them to get into it because the beginning half was really slow build up. And what I will say to that criticism is yes, it is a slow burn. However, that slow burn is very intentional and necessary because it fits the dynamic of what the relationship is for the characters. They're not just two random people out on the street. They're working together professionally on a project. That's a different kind of dynamic. Employer employee, technically. That's a very taboo dynamic. I personally would find it very strange if these two people immediately got to hunching. I would be like, oh, they're reckless. Oh, they don't care about their careers. Oh, okay, that's how they're getting down, just outside, just doing what they're doing, how they doing what they're doing. They cut different. It makes completely sense. It makes complete sense because the way that we get inside the characters' heads, he is, this very pensive, kind of, he's a very pensive man, pensive and decisive. He has this broody aura about him, but he's also not so consumed with himself. Like he cracks a little smile. He's a very serious person, but he does give you a little grin, a little chuckle. He's confident, but he's not cocky. He's just very secure in his talent, and he's dedicated to the craft and the art. And so he's very serious and passionate about that. And it comes across that way. And with her, what I like about her character is that she has an innocence to her. And I don't mean innocence as in naivete, as in being childish or childlike. What I mean is that she doesn't have anything to hide, and that makes her a very endearing person to the other characters that she interacts with, so much so that when she meets people, they like immediately form an attraction with her, like like a relationship with her. It's kind of like, oh my god, I feel like I've known you for forever. It's very easy to talk to her, and I think part of that is her being so open and being very honest about who she is. And she's a sweet girl, and it comes across well. And so their dynamic is very interesting with the juxtaposition of their personalities. I think it also fits their background with the slow burn because there are situations that took place. One of them, one scene from Neva's life, we got to see play out in the books. Very short, but we got to see it, and we kind of get to see the impact of it. Another situation from Cannon's life took place outside of the book, like in the past. However, it gets talked about through the characters of the book, and whenever it gets brought up, he ain't fucking with it. So that again adds to an element of why it's necessary to have a slow burn. We have two characters who have lived through some stuff, who are also, in this kind of taboo dynamic where you really shouldn't be developing feelings, but you can't really help who you're attracted to. The feelings just kind of start developing, and it feels realistic. I said all that to say that it feels realistic. The other thing that I do like about how this slow burn is playing out is that it's not really angsty. When I've read slow burns before, a lot of times, especially when like young adult fiction or new adult fiction, even some smut, the there's a lot of angst with the slow burns. It's like the inner monologue with the slow burn is just, it's very, I get anxious. I get anxious sometimes. It's like, damn, baby, take a shot, calm down. It ain't that deep. With these characters, there isn't angst. I wouldn't even go as far to say as they've hit yearning yet. There isn't yearning yet. There is interest. There is interest, but it's capped because they know that they really shouldn't. However, their natural feelings do betray them at times. Their natural reactions. When you're attracted to somebody, you're attracted to them. So like their arm brushes up against you. A paper drops and you both reached for it. You're in a room full of people at a table with other people and everybody's laughing and you guys catch eyes and you lock eyes for a moment. There's like this intensity with it. There are those natural moments that are developing that again feel very realistic for me. If you were at work, okay, and you and your supervisor were attracted to each other and y'all are at lunch with the coworkers, huh? Y'all gonna be rubbing up and down on each other at the lunch table with your coworkers? Or are you gonna you're gonna give a little eye. You're gonna give a little eye. Let's be honest. So that's my feedback on the slow burn. I think the pacing does make sense because it makes it more realistic, but it's still engaging. And like I said, there's also this B plot that's going on in between. So you're not just sitting in between these characters slow burning with each other. You're also finding out about another individual's life. And so that makes it easy to develop and read through, which takes me to a little bit of a breakdown on the B plot. There's a little bit of queer romance, dare I say. Now, I don't want to queer bait, okay, because it is a B plot. And I haven't gotten deep enough in the book to see how much of it is there. But it is there. So I am interested in that because of the time period that it's set in. A lot of times when people talk about like the LGBTQ plus, community, LGBTQ plus, got a little tongue tied on that one. I'm an ally, I promise I'm an ally. But a lot of times when people talk about it, especially now, it's like almost as if it's new, like this stuff just started. We weren't doing that back in the day. And one of the things that's brought up in the book is how a lot of Black female entertainers were bi, were lesbian, were queer. This isn't new. And if you look around the Harlem Renaissance, even if you look in the civil rights movement, even if you look in the Black Power movement, we have always had queer people represented. You wouldn't have a civil rights movement if you didn't have bi wrestling. Sorry, March on Washington would not have happened if you didn't have bi wrestling. Go read a book about it. Argue with your grandparents about it. You're not going to argue with me about it, though. I'm not here to tussle with you, baby. Okay? I'm not Clarissa Shields. I ain't going to fight with you about it, honey. Okay? So I think that that was a really interesting element that's thrown in there. The other thing that I will say about the B plot, I have the physical book and I'm also listening to the audiobook because I have to switch between modes and mediums. In the audio book, there's a scene in the physical book where there's a performance happening and you get to see the lyrics of what's being performed and it almost reads like poetry, like you would if you're reading a poetry book. In the audio book, it is performed. And the individual that performs it, chef's kiss, beautiful voice, beautiful performance. You really feel it. It was such an amazing element. If you guys have a library card, if you don't have a library card, what are you doing? Get a library card, honey. Request the audiobook. If your library doesn't have it, suggest that they get it. You can also do a free trial to Ever and then you can also do like I think a free trial to Kobo, if I'm not mistaken. Kobo Unlimited has Real. You have to, there are two different audio versions on it that pop up, one with this cover and then one with a different cover. If you do Kobo Unlimited, it's the one with the other cover that's on there. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. So I would suggest the audiobook just so that you could kind of like hear the performances. But that was really amazing. And that's actually the first time that I've heard that in an audiobook. So I was like, okay, innovative, girl. Set the tone for them. Let them know. Do something new, fresh. I wonder how many people are going to be popping that up in their audiobooks and stuff now that it's popped off with Kennedy Ryan. We'll see. So that is my recap of chapter 6 through 19. I'm about to start chapter 20. I'll try to do a recap maybe at 25. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know when I'm gonna do the recap again. I don't want to be sitting up here lying to y'all like that. Have y'all expecting, recap at this time, and then I don't really make it happen. And now y'all don't trust me. So I'm just say I'll follow up with another recap when I follow up with another recap. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for coming into the space with me. If you like the video, if you like the recaps, definitely give me a little like, give me a little, give me a little. Okay. And if you found something that I've said in the video to be interesting, I talked about a lot with the B plot, with the slow burn, okay, with, a little bit about the characters and my takeaway. So if you would like to engage with me on that, go ahead. If you agree, if you disagree, I'm always open for a conversation. I guess that's what I'm saying. I like talking about books and I like talking to people who like talking about books. So I am open to engage in the conversation about this book. So if you would like to chat with me, then drop a comment and chat with me. Okay? It's that simple. It's like that. It's like this and like that and like that. And okay. With all of that being said, I will see you on the next recap. Thank you so much for joining me. Please, please, please come back around and holler at your girl. Okay? Because I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be looking for you too. Okay? So show up for your girl. Come on. What else you got to do? You probably do have stuff to do, but don't even worry about the other stuff, okay? Make time for me. I'm important. Bye.